Free-to-play games are not necessarily associated with quality, but a few free-to-play games have really set themselves apart for actually being really good. MOBAs like Dota, League of Legends, and Smite. And while there are some really good free online battle arena games, what about shooters? Team Fortress 2 is a title that jumps to my mind, but everyone's heard of that. What about the shooters that aren't so cartoony? Shooters that are maybe a bit more similar to your Battlefields and Call of Duties. Not to knock TF2's art style, but are there any other free shooter games out there that remind me of a AAA first-person shooter, or maybe just a little something else that's really fun?
As it turns out, there are actually some other shooter titles out there that are actually really good. When I think of free-to-play games, the word quality doesn't immediately jump to my mind, but there are definitely a few gems surrounded by all the doo-doo. Perhaps you're new to this whole PC first-person shooter thing, and you want a game that isn't too hard, but at the same time isn't completely lacking of any challenge. Blacklight Retribution, hereafter being called BLR, might be just up your alley. BLR was one of the first FPS games I played on my PC, and after adjusting myself to the format of the game and the weapons, it became a lot easier. Several matches and level ups later, I became a quick-scoping 420 blazing record of noobs.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
A lot of the guns in Blacklight don't have too much recoil, and you can customize your weapon out the freaking wazoo by replacing the default scope, barrel, muzzle, receiver, weapon tag, camo, magazine, and stock. You can also customize what you wear to make you stronger. There are many different game modes in BLR, my favorites being Deathmatch and TDM. The game does have its shortcomings though, with some features only being unlocked by doing surveys to get Zen, or alternatively by actually buying it. This kinda sets up a pay-to-win mentality in the game, but a lot of stuff is available through another currency called GP, which is earned by leveling up and actually playing the game. If you want a good introductory first-person shooter, definitely check out Blacklight Retribution. It's fun, competitive, and it's very friendly towards beginners.
Dirty Bomb is my favorite of the free-to-play FPSs on Steam. Its art style looks like a mix between TF2 and Borderlands, having a cartoony and almost CGI look while staying moderately realistic. I find this game to be fun because of its more objective-based gameplay rather than it just being a team deathmatch style, kill each other over and over again game that, say, Taylor would like. The way you select weapons and loadouts is via character system, where every character has their own style of gameplay. Some characters are made for objectives and can plant and defuse bombs faster than other characters. And then there are characters like your good old medics and ammo givers. While there isn't much customization in this game, you are sure to find a character that fits your playstyle in this objective, fast-paced FPS.
Metro Conflict is a brand new first-person shooter that's a bit like Blacklight Retribution, albeit it's a bit more challenging, with wildly inaccurate weapons that are sure to make you rage a few times and break a few of your peripherals. The game style seems to be very polarizing to many people, but I find it to be a decent challenge and accept it for what it is. A shortcoming, however, is that Metro has a lot of the same pay-to-win mentality that we can see in Blacklight, where you can buy Astros with real-life money or wait up and save up some regular game points by playing some matches. Even then though, playing matches and saving up game points will never allow you to get the weapons that can only be unlocked using Astros. It's a basic team deathmatch style of playing where whichever team gets to 100 kills first wins the match. They still haven't streamlined the servers in the game menu, and there are only a few maps to pick from. If you start playing Blacklight and you think you've become too good at it, you can download Metro Conflict and struggle through everything all over again. But hey, it's a learning experience. I actually found that going from playing Metro to an easier FPS like Blacklight in one sitting made playing Blacklight an absolute breeze.
Hawken is a mech-based first-person shooter similar to Titanfall but without the pilot part. By that I mean you are always in the mech. You get all kinds of mech-style weapons and equipment, from cannons to giant robot rocket launchers. The main point of the game is to destroy enemy mechs similar to Team Deathmatch on Call of Duty. The more times you do this, the more you level up, the more mechs you get. This game is pretty entertaining, but neither of us have spent much time on it.
A lot of the games mentioned prior share the same general gameplay and core mechanics. It's what you expect from first-person shooters with a team deathmatch or free-for-all mode. there's only so much you can do with it. Luckily, all these games have slight differences which make all of them worth coming back to, at least for me. Warface is another one of those first-person shooters, but the gameplay is different enough for me to like it a ton and keep playing it. If you play TDM, the gist of it is whichever team has more kills after the time allotted wins, or you could set it to whichever team gets a preset number of kills first wins, just like Metro Conflict. You can do some slight parkour and get up into higher places with the aid of your teammates. The environments really remind me of Call of Duty 4, and overall it's just a really good game, so it's worth checking out. Warface, to put it simply, is a poor man's Call of Duty, with some minor microtransaction and pay-to-win junk thrown in, a flaw of all the free-to-play shooters mentioned on this list so far.
Ghost Recon Phantoms, unlike the other games on this list, is a free-to-play third-person shooter. The game is easy to jump into if you are familiar with the cover-based third-person shooter type gameplay, with the likes of Ghost Recon Future Warfighter and the Gears of War series. This game gives you a lot of customization options, including cosmetic customization and loadout customization. If you have played other Ghost Recon games, this will be very familiar to you since the formula has not changed in the transition to a free-to-play multiplayer game, in that it is at heart a class-based shooter with each class completely customizable, from the class abilities to its weapons. The only thing wrong with the game is that it seems to be mostly abandoned besides what's left of the hardcore fanbase. It can take upwards to 15 minutes to fight one match.
Alliance of Valiant Arms, or AVA, is a really old game and thus might be of interest to those of you with poop PCs. I noticed that it plays a lot like Metro Conflict in the Annihilation mode, which is a team deathmatch mode where whichever team hits a preset number of kills first wins. The game has 10 total modes, including the aforementioned Annihilation mode, as well as Demolition, Escort, Convoy, Domination, Free-for-all, Cross-Steal, Infection, AI Mission, and Escape and Boat. The game has a lot to offer if you want a good FPS, more to offer than just the TF2 achievement you get by playing the game. Like seriously, it's fun, you turds.
PlanetSide 2 is the widely popular sequel to PlanetSide. PlanetSide 2 is another free-to-play first-person shooter, but the thing that makes it stand out from the others is that it's huge. One multiplayer match can take hours and hours. In this game, you get to pick one of 3 factions. Then you get thrown into a huge map that houses thousands of players at once. Each faction tries their best to take over the whole map while simultaneously taking out enemies in air, land, and infantry combat. This game throws you into massive battles where aircraft flies overhead in crazy dogfights and tanks blow stuff up around you, all while infantry troops are getting into huge, long-lasting firefights. The thing that makes this game great is that every single one of these things is controlled by a player, making you feel like you are actually in the middle of a massive conflict between these 3 factions. You get to choose whether you are an infantry troop, a pilot, or a tanker in these enormous battles over this war-torn planetside.
The devs abandoned Warring Battlezone a few years ago, but the game is not completely broken. As with a lot of older first-person shooter games, Warring Battlezone is a haven for online cheating, which is quite a shame because if this one flaw was absent, Warring would make for a seriously awesome game. The gameplay reminds me a lot like Call of Duty, like Warface, so if you're into that game, Warring could be well worth a glimpse. In my brief experience with the game, I didn't encounter too much rampant hacking, and I actually enjoyed playing. Hopefully we just gave you guys some new games in your Steam library with this list.
If you want more gaming videos just like this one,
Be sure to subscribe to Undiscovered Pixel to know when we upload.
plus give this video a big fat thumbs up.
Thanks for watching.